Mm. Hello, everybody. I will introduce some basic knowledge in Buddhism. Uh, Buddhism come from Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni was a prince in India, and he was always a seeking person as a baby. He did got married to the most beautiful woman in India. His cousin, Devadatta, was promised that he gonna get that. So in all this kind of Buddhism practice, um, he Devadatta is the side of evil, and Shakyamuni is the savior. So he married this princess, and they had a son. And then he was 19, something like that, 1920, and he was in the palace. What is his life gonna mean? You know, he had all the money, all the clothing, all the food, all the servants, everything, and the most beautiful woman in India. And he got a son. So that there is not so much more. Well, what would you like to do? So he meditated. He went to all in India is 20,000 different kinds of sutras who are practicing everything from yoga to different kind of physical practice. So that is the land when Buddha was born. So he wanted to know for himself, what is this? So he went out in the forest, and he created a meditated environment for himself, and then he went deep, deep, deep into concentration inside of him, not anybody else, of him. And then finally he was almost to die. Then a woman, a little girl, came with the milk. Well, she had milk from the cow in a bowl, and she gave it to him. And after that, he drank the milk, and he restrained his physique again. And then he told the people, please go the middle way. Don't overdo anything. Don't think that anybody are more right than anybody else. Just go the middle way in a peaceful way. So that is called Buddhism after Shakyamuni. He went out in the world as he got enlightened, and he passes all kind of villages and cities, and he was always preaching. And he has people who understood him, and they become his disciples. And this is something who I think is very I'm from Sweden. I grew up in a Christian country, but I never believed in that I'm going to go to some paradise or that I should go to some hell because I've been a naughty girl or something, whatever. So this is Goshos. This is books which Nichiren Daishonin have been writing. And this is, I wanted to read a little bit on attaining Buddhahood. If you wish to free yourself from the suffering of birth and death, you have endured through eternity and attained supreme enlightenment in this lifetime. You must awake to the true mystic laws. Has always been within your life. This trust is Myoho Renge Kyo. Chanting Myoho Renge Kyo will therefore enable you to grasp the mystic truth within the Myoho Renge Kyo. Is the king of sutra, flawless in both letter and principle. Its words are the reality of life, and the reality of life is the mystic law, Myoho. It is called the mystic law because it explains the mutual, inclusive relationship of life and all phenomena. That is why this sutra is the wisdom of all sutra. Life at each moment encompasses both body and spirit, and both self and environment of all sentient beings in the every condition of life, as well as insect beings, plants, skies, earth, and down to the most minute particles of dust. Life at each moment permeates the universe and is revealed in the phenomena. One awakened to this truth himself embodies the relationship, however, with the thought you chant and believe in Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. If you think that the law is outside yourself, you are embracing not the mystic law, but some inferior teaching. Inferior teaching means those other than this sutra, which is all provincial and transient. No provincial teaching leads directly to enlightenment. It's very hard this time for me to choose what to read for you or explain this thing. So don't think because I don't mention anything Buddhist questions. I'm really happy to do so. And the more people coming, the more I can continue. But this is just a kind of a light introduction. So we in Buddhism, you have to sort of take away the Christian or other religious things you have in your head. But the basic, one of the basic things is the Four Noble Truths. And our rhythm, as the sutra says, truths of suffering, you can have spiritual, physical, economic, or other sufferings. Next, truth of cause. Investigation of the cause of suffering based on the principle of the reality of all existence and the law of the 12 causality. The 12 causality we cannot go through today, it's very long, but there is exactly explained what the 12 causalities is. And then you have true extinction, tranquil state, spiritual, physical, economic, and others suffering. And the fourth one, true of the path, method of practice for extinction sufferings, the eightfold path, which including in Buddhism philosophy. It starts with right view, that you can see things honestly and truthful. To see all the things rightly based on the Buddha's wisdom, that discerns and understands the principle of the reality of all existence. Right thinking, to think rightly, avoiding the three evils of the mind. Right speech, to speak right words, avoiding the four evils of the mouth. right action, to act rightly avoiding the three evils of the body. Right living, to gain food, clothing, shelter, and other daily necessity in a right way. The right endeavor, never to do evil and always to do good. Right memory, to have a continuous right mind, both oneself and others. Right meditation, to strive constantly for the true law and the fixed and settle in it. So this is paramitas, this is 8 paramitas we follow in my kind of Buddhist. And actually there are more paramitas, but they is not the most important thing. For somebody who's a newcomer, I really encourage you to just chant a very simple mantra, Nam Yo Renge Kyo. And you can chant that 5 minutes, half an hour, or whatever. And then your Buddha nature will be awakened, and then you will present the most precious things in your life and have a setting to chant. But there is much more than I could come up with today. But we have Milarepa in Tibetan Buddhism. He was enlightened, but he wrote poems, Buddhist poems. And here is no Nin Gosho. Here is for those who are Japanese and English speaking, you can, it's Japanese here and it's English here, so you can get a direct translation about all the goshos. Now, this is one of the temple grounds in Japan, next to Mount Fuji. You can fly there if you want, but I encourage you to get some lectures from a priest first and read some of these books. And what the most important things I would say is there is no evil in Buddhism. I'm not a better Buddhist than you because I go to the temple, or I do this, or I don't do that, I do that. So really it's a school for not comparing your knowledge, your wisdom, your temperament, your tolerance, and all these things. This is private exercise you can do if you want to, and then you're gonna grow, and that's the most important thing. The important thing is not to point out to others what they do wrong or what they don't understand, and so on and so forth. So your place, if you do understand things, you tell them. You're not accusing anybody being a better Buddhist, and because that doesn't exist in Buddhism. That doesn't exist. So you just causing negative causes if you start to point out other people's faults. So always in all transaction of life, relationship and things, if you want to create good karma, which is relationships, that you do it without scolding the other person. And also Buddhism is helping you clarify what you really want in life. It could be many things, and nothing is less worth than somebody else's desire. somebody maybe want to have nice shoes, or you think, oh, shoes. But, it's important for that person. So we don't really criticize other people's desire. But this Buddhism is giving you this, that earthly desires are the way to enlightenment. And that's very, very important to remember. So if you have a strong desire for something, we usually put it on our morning ganyo or evening ganyo, and then we chant, and remembering that nothing is too stupid or too little or too, these are not existing in the Buddha's world. Everything who makes you happy is all it wants. If you're going to go and murder somebody because you have desire to do that, then it's cause and effect. You murder somebody, the effect is that the person die, and then you get in prison, and your life is not going to be so good. So we have no moral judgment against that. It's just that this Buddhism is practicing for your happiness in this world. You're not going anywhere. You are here on earth, and here you're going to be in hell or heaven. So that is important, that you're not going to go anywhere and get the cookies up in heaven. No, they're coming down here. And if you're practicing, you can chant for anything you want. Chant, I mean Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And that you repeatedly say while you're praying. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And we have these things. They're called beads. So, and here, I don't know how to do this, but okay. This is the arms, so it's your 108 desires. These are your 2 legs down here. So this is like, yeah. And these beads, because the 108 desires is what human beings have all the time sweeping around the brain. And these beads, when you hold them, the 108 desires, is you taking your master of your life. And you will not complain to others. You will be master of your life. And all these 108 desires is all yours. You can chant for anything. Now, there are more to this Buddhism, but I think we're out of time now. And so I do with you. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho